Hello everyone. Some time ago CIMA released a new operational case study pre-scene material. So in this video I'm going to maybe not analyze, because this is the operational level, so there's particularly nothing here to be analyzed, but just go through this pre-scene material and maybe underline some interesting parts of this pre-scene and give you some tips to which will help you to prepare for your operational case study exam. So I'm not going to read all this, so it's really highly recommended that you are familiar with the whole text of this pre-scene material. I'm going to focus only on the parts that I've highlighted, that I found interesting, that I found useful, and maybe I'll give you some tips that will allow you to prepare in a much more efficient way for your case study exam. Okay, so let's start. So the company's name is Personal Best, so it will be referred as PB in the rest of this analysis, or this let's call it analysis. Everybody calls it analysis, so let's leave it as an analysis. So a context statement. So usually this context statement in the past 2 years referred to COVID situation. Now the COVID situation is hopefully gone forever. So in the statement we are just informed that we are aware that there has been and remains a significant amount of change globally. To assist with clarity and fairness, we do not expect students to factor these changes in when responding to or preparing for a case study. So you don't have to worry about all the current issues that are observable in the economy or in the generally in worldwide politics. So just refer to the text given in the pre-scene and you should be fine. Okay. Now we have content, so let's skip it. And your role. So this role is pretty standard. So you are a finance officer. So you are working with the finance department, and remember, on the operational level, you are not a manager. You are not making any decisions. So your job is mainly to analyze data, prepare information, prepare reports, prepare briefing notes for your boss or senior boss. So generally, keep that in mind. You're not making any decision. You're just preparing information for the people who make such decisions. Okay. So you don't need like extensive knowledge on the industry that company operates in. You don't need extensive knowledge on some strategic issues and so on. So CIMA on the operational level will generally try to test your technical skills, so your understandings of costing models, your understanding of management accounting concepts, data analysis, and so on and so on. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's pretty standard. So you are principally involved in preparation of management accounting information. So that's what I said. You're preparing information for others. You provide information to managers. That's also what I said, to assist with planning, control, and decision making. You are also expected to assist with the preparation of financial statements and answer queries regarding financial reporting and other financial matters. So generally this last sentence is related to international accounting standards, international financial reporting standards, and tax issues, because this is what is in the CIMA syllabus for operational level. So the company background. So as I said, I hope you read the whole pre-scene. So I'm not going to read all the stuff that's in the pre-scene. I'm only going to focus on the things that I've highlighted. So some basic information that you should memorize. So I've highlighted this in yellow. So our company is a manufacturer of protein bars and protein powders. Okay, you should obviously remember this. Generally, our products are designed for people who undertake a regular program of exercise. So generally, we are focused on customers that are actively exercising, and the company is based in Sealand. So this is like a country that CIMA always come up with. So sometimes it's Sealand, sometimes it's Zealand, and so on. So you don't have to worry about this much, but just remember that the country is Sealand. It is located in Europe and has a C dollar as a currency. So this is the basic information that you have to memorize. Okay, let's move on. So this is the whole company background. So you don't have to really remember all the stuff. Just read it once or twice and you're gonna be fine. So the first things I found interesting, and maybe it's useful for you to prepare for the exam, is marketing. So generally, this statement here I highlighted in yellow indicates that our company is mainly using social media to raise awareness and create demand for protein bars and probably protein powders as well. So this is all related to e-marketing and social media. And why it may be important for you in the exam? Well, the KPIs. So it's very probable that CIMA will ask you to propose or to comment on some KPIs related to, for example, an e-marketing campaign. Okay, so one of the tasks in the exam may be as we have implemented an e-marketing campaign and proposed, 3, maybe 4 KPIs that will measure the effectiveness of this e-marketing campaign. Of course, you have to propose these KPIs and you have to also provide a justification. Why do you think these KPIs may be important to the company? And why these KPIs you think measure, effectiveness, whatever you ask wherever the information is given in the task. Okay, so this is something that you can prepare before going to the exam. So think about 3, maybe 4 KPIs that are related to e-marketing campaign, social media campaign, because if you are given a task in which you are asked about this social media or e-marketing campaign KPIs, you are prepared. Okay. Again, here, so in this part marked in green, so we are also informed that the company extensively uses social media, uses influencers, so something that is very common today. And the company builds community around brand and around products. Okay, and this is also a useful information for marketing KPIs and also a source of digital data. Remember that CIMA on operational level may ask you about the sources of digital data, and you may indicate that social media posts or e-marketing campaigns are pretty good source of digital data. Okay, and CIMA also may ask you about the usefulness of this data, so think about it while preparing for the operational case study. So another thing that I picked up from this pre-scene material is that the gym chains is the primary customer segment. Okay, so this is what you have to keep in mind. And the protein bars are the primary products. So the company started with protein bars, and then after, I guess, 3 years, it will be later in the pre-scene, they started producing protein powder. But protein bars is the primary product which was distributed through the gym chains. Okay. And as you see, the part here are marked in green. So the growth in the first year of trading was so rapid that the new premises and additional plant and machinery had to be acquired in order to keep up with demand. So whenever you hear about plant and machinery, what always comes to mind or should come to your mind is International Accounting Standard number 16, so property, plant and equipment. So study the IAS 16. Now the new product, so protein powder, came up few years later, so just keep that in mind that this is like a secondary product, new range of products, maybe because it's not only one protein powder but the whole range of new products called the protein powders. And here we are informed that PB has experienced sales growth every month since its foundation. So generally, whenever company experiences rapid sale growth, there is a danger of something we call overtrading. Okay, so overtrading is a term related to working capital management. And it's generally the danger of overtrading may result in going out of cash. Okay, so keep that in mind and check in your F1 textbook, or I don't know if you're using a platform, check out in the platform. So overtrading, what is overtrading, what are the signs of overtrading? It may be useful if you are met with the task relating to capital management or working capital management or working capital ratios. Okay, so sometimes CIMA may give gives the students or examinees, maybe not students, examinees, a task related to the analysis of working capital ratios. So you might indicate that you see that there are signs of overtrading if such signs occurs in the ratios. And here you have a basic information, financial information. So you don't need to exactly remember these numbers. However, it is highly recommended that you remember them at least roughly. Okay, so you what you should memorize is that sales revenues are something close to 25 million. Okay, so you don't have to remember the exact number, but approximately you should be able to know what is the sales, what are the sales revenues, what is the profit, that is something over 8 million. Gross profit, of course, and the profit before tax is 1.2 million, so it's around million. So if you remember this, you will be fine. And take a look at this. So this date indicates that the accounting year is not matching the calendar years. Okay, so usually in most companies the calendar year and the accounting year are exactly the same. So they start the 1st January, they end up they end up with in December. And now with this information you can deduct that the company ends its accounting year in the mid of the year. So you have to be also aware of this. Next, so this section, so company's mission statement and ethos, this section is pretty important because it relates to ethics and KPIs. So not exclusively, but mainly. So take a look at this, what I here highlighted. So the mission statement is to help all customers to achieve their own personal best and to live their best life. So you have to maybe not memorize, but understand this mission statement, because it may help you to justify your answers. Answers, for example, related to KPIs, related to products, related to quality, and related to ethics. Okay, just you can justify all your statements with this mission statement. Okay, so why do you think that we should, for example, I don't know, put an attention to quality? Well, because we want to help all customers to achieve their own personal best. So if we want our customers to achieve their personal best, we have to also achieve our personal best. So best quality, best products, best distribution, and so on. And another mention about social media community. So this company is not only branding or advertising its products through the social media, but it also builds a community around the products with the use of social media. Okay, and of course they are building this community in relation to the mission statement. So they want to connect people who want to achieve their own personal best and to live their best life. So keep that in mind. It may be useful while answering some of the tasks. And another thing that I found interesting is sustainability. So CIMA is, in recent years is absolutely crazy about sustainability, being environmental friendly, and so on. So keep that in mind, that environmental issues may come up during your operational case study exam. So maybe not the whole task, but one of the subtasks may be related to sustainability issues, environmental issues, being carbon neutral, and so on. So keep that in mind, that the company or the founders of the company are also concerned with sustainability. Okay, and as you see, they want to ensure that the ingredients used in the production are ethically and sustainably sourced. So keep that in mind, and may help you to answer some of the questions that CIMA wants you to answer during the operational case study exam. We have an information that relationship with suppliers are seen as vital to PBS success. So keep that in mind also, because sometimes where there is a task related to working capital, and especially related to relations with suppliers. So, for example, payment terms and so on. So aside from financial factors which are connected to the suppliers, you may be also asked to provide some information about other non-financial factors that might be important in relation with suppliers. So knowing that relationship with suppliers is a vital thing to the company's success, you can just relate to pre-seen material that, non-financial factors, so non-financial aspects of relationship with suppliers is also important. Okay, so for example, example of task that came up, I think 2 years ago. So one of the tasks the company had a problem with cash. And one of the members of the staff proposed that if we have problems with cash, we can pay our suppliers later. Okay, so we can pay them after the payment period is due. So the correct answer to this question in relation to this personal best company that we have here in the pre-scene should be that it's not a good idea, because the relationship with suppliers is vital to our success, and we don't want to destroy this good relationship. Okay, so keep that in mind. It may be a useful information. The company has an aim to be carbon neutral with 4 years, so this also should be memorized, because this will, I think, affect your operational case study scenarios. Okay, so the company, so during the exam, every task is like separated with 2-3 months, sometimes half a year from each other. So it's really probable that company will make some decisions that will affect its carbon neutrality. Okay, so for example, I don't know, they will switch from using fossil fuels to, for example, I don't know, solar panels and so on. So this may come up in the exam. So just keep that in mind, that the company aims to be carbon neutral in 4 years. Okay, so that will affect their decisions in the future. Okay, let's move on. So here we have the industry. So as I said, this is operational level. So you are not making any decisions. You don't need to perfectly understand the market. Just read it once or twice and you'll be fine. Remember that in operational case study, the whole company, or the whole generally the whole depreciation is just a background. Okay, so they will test your technical skills, your ability to convert your technical knowledge into solutions of business problems. So you are generally providing information to the people who make decisions. You don't make decisions, so you don't have to be an expert in the protein bars or protein powders industry. Okay, but there are some basic information about industry that you should be aware of. So for example, that the European market growth rate reflects the patterns observed in sealant and has similar levels of competitions in most countries. So the competition and the market in neighboring countries of sealant should be very similar to the ones that are observed in sealant. So this is one of the pieces of information that you should remember, because the company may go abroad during the exam scenario. So one of the things that may help you to answer some task related to the to this company going abroad is that the market in other countries is very similar to the one that is observed in sealant. So that may be also very useful in time series analysis. So maybe I'll put this information. So time series analysis. So CIMA may ask you during the exam that they've prepared, for example, sales growth chart for the neighboring country, and what do you think about it? Okay, so is this data useful for us? Can we relate this data to our market, and so on and so on? So knowing that the market in the neighboring countries or the other European countries is almost the same as in sealant will help you to answer this question. Okay. Now this is the also essential piece of information. So the PB is the only company that is based in sealant. Okay. So the other companies, so Mega Builder, Protein In, and others these are the companies that are foreign companies. They are only selling the products in Sealand, however, they are not manufacturing the products in the Sealand, okay? So this is also essential information. So here I put a comment on site that PB is the only domestic manufacturer, and this may be useful information when you are asked about KPIs related to sales or marketing, okay? So the market value for protein powder in Sealand was 30 million dollars and is expected to grow by 5% year on year. So it's growing, but it's not growing like crazy. So it's not like 20% year to year. It's 5%. So it's like moderate growth. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, Sealand market for protein bars. So here we are informed that startup costs are relatively low for protein bars market, and the market base appeals to a much wider segment. So these two pieces of information indicate that we may expect increasing competition, and if we expect increasing competition, there may be a price war in the market. So if there is a price war in the market, the company is expected to lower the production costs in order to retain a margin. Okay, so you may be asked in the exam that the company is looking for lowering the production costs, and they may have some ideas how to do it, and your job will be to comment on these ideas. So such task occurred in the past exam, so it may come up in your exam. Now another piece of information that post-workout bars, diet bars and general snack bars, so the company is producing three general ranges of bars, so post-workout bars, diet bars and general snack bars. Why it is important? Because the customer segments that are related to each of these ranges of products are different. Okay, so post-workout bars are dedicated to people who exercise. Diet bars are not necessarily related to people who exercise. You may not exercise, but you want to you have a healthy diet, so this diet bars may be something suitable for you. And general snack bars, so this is for the whole population. Okay, so this is a range of products that are dedicated for a broad market. It's good to know such things. Okay, and PB protein bars currently targets the pre and post workout segment. So generally we are focusing on people who exercise, which is in line with our mission statement. So remember that the mission statement states that we want to help people achieve their personal best, and so generally we are focusing on people who work out regularly, and we dedicate them this line of products. Okay, let's move on. This is another statement that may be useful for you. So I forgot to just here. Okay, so here I put a comment that this statement, so you don't always have the resources to cook the perfect post-workout meal or low calorie lunch, and so we have created delicious and convenient alternatives. Okay, so the company's products, so the protein bars, solve a problem, and the problem is that we don't always have time or will to cook a perfect post-workout meal, low-calorie lunch, and so on. So it's convenient alternative for us just in order to cook a meal, we can always grab a protein bar and eat it. So this is an alternative that solves our problem and saves a lot of time, because we spend a lot of time on cooking, and this protein bar is an alternative. So this is an important information which also relates to KPIs, so how the product is advertised. So the KPI should grab this idea of being an alternative to a post-workout meal. So this is the idea of protein bar. It is an alternative, okay, that solves a problem. Okay, so we can skip all that stuff, and here this is indicates this part indicates what may come up during the exam. So let's just read it. So although our protein powders contain the same high nutritional content as the other leading brands, they taste entirely different, blah blah blah. PB protein bars mix easy with water and have none of the gritty or chalky residue that other brands have. In fact, they taste like the best creamy milkshake. Available in 7 dreamy flavors, with a further 3 planned for late 2023. So in your exam scenario, they will probably relate to this information. So you may expect a new product launches, okay? So new flavors that will come up in late 2023. So if you have new product releases, so what does it mean in the context of the exam? So the topics like sales mix variances. So we have 3 flavors, 3 different products with different flavors, and you may be provided with sales mix variances with some notes, and you should comment or explain why these sales variances occurred, okay? So this is one of the tasks that you may face during the exam. Another one is time series analysis. So you may be provided with a chart with the sales levels of these 3 products, and you will be asked to explain what's on the chart, what we can do with this information, and so on. Of course, if there is sales, new product releases, you can always expect cost, volume, profit analysis. So for example, you may be provided with a chart, for example, a whale chart or multi product cost, volume, profit analysis. It's called whale chart because it has a shape of a whale. And you will be asked to explain what is on the chart, okay? So how you can read it, what sort of information you can read from this chart, and what is the use of this information, okay? And of course, if we have new product releases, then also you may expect what if or sensitivity analysis. So this is also a pretty good topic to test, what if or sensitivity analysis, and you may also be asked, so what if analysis. So what is the type of what's this analysis for? What does it tell us? What are the pros and cons of this type of analysis? And the same relates to sensitivity analysis. So you also may be asked about what are the advantages and disadvantages of such analysis? How can we use it? What are the drawbacks of this analysis? And so on and so on. And of course, if you have 3 products that will be released in the late 2023, also decisions under risk. So Maximax, Maximin, and Minimax regrets can also be tested. So we'll be provided with outcomes table in relation to these 3 product releases. So for example, profits or cash flows, and you should, for example, the company may ask you that which of these products should be should be favored by the company, because we have decided that from these 3 products we will choose only one that we will continue to produce. The production of the remaining 2 will be abandoned, and you should, for example, indicate what would be the choice under these 3 decision rules. So maximax, maximin, and minimax regret. Okay, let's move on. So this is pretty boring part. So the only thing that you should remember is that Julia Matthews is your senior boss. So she's a finance director and she is your senior boss. And during the exam, you may expect some emails from her with the tasks that you should do. And this is also, so this small piece of information is important because it also relates to company's mission. So the founders are passionate about nutrition, health, and happiness. For them, this is what PB stands for, helping people to achieve their personal best. So this is another part of this pre-scene material when the CIMA relates to the mission statement. So you may expect that they will ask directly or indirectly about this mission statement in one of the tasks. Okay, maybe with KPIs, maybe it relation with suppliers, maybe with relation with customers. So keep that in mind. So this mission statement is pretty important. So write it down and try to memorize it. Okay. Now here is another mention that influencers and brand ambassadors are important. So we are informed that a person called Della is a huge fan of our product. She lost weight using this product, so she can be, and she's an influencer. So if she's an influencer, she had successful weight loss journey with the use of our products, then she can become our brand ambassador. Okay, so remember that brand ambassador is something that you can use when you are asked about selling KPIs or e-marketing KPIs. Okay, you can always relate to that concept of brand ambassador. Okay. Here we have another piece of information that the company wants to be sustainable. So what specific actions do you take to minimize waste and harm to the environment while making peanut butter? We buy our peanuts locally. So if we buy locally, that we are reducing carbon footprint because the distance between supplier and our company is reduced, so we are also reducing carbon footprint and we are reducing waste. So as you can see, peanut butter skins are sold to farmers and peanut hearts sold for bird feed. Okay, so we're reducing carbon footprint, reducing waste. And remember that in operational case study, one of the subtasks will relate to either ethics or environmental issues. So keep that in mind, that the company wants to be sustainable and is doing their best to reduce the carbon footprint and reduce waste. So next thing, key management teams. So why is that important? Because each management team can be seen as a responsibility center, and with responsibility center comes up responsibility accounting. Okay, so in your P1 textbooks or in the platform, check out for responsibility accounting. So for example, task that you may face during the exam that relates to responsibility accounting. So you may be asked to provide pros and cons of responsibility accounting. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of responsibility accounting? And of course, with relation to our company. So don't provide any general answers. Always relate to the company that is presented in the pre-scene. And also participative budgeting. This is also a topic that is usually connected with responsibility centers. So check what is participative budgeting, and also what are the advantages, disadvantages, and think about what can be an advantage of participative budgeting in relation to our company and what may be the disadvantage. Okay, so try to think about it and prepare a draft of your answer and try to memorize it, because if you have that this kind of task during your exam, you have answer ready in your head. Just to all you have to do is just type it. Okay. So this is production. So the production, if the company is a production company, so the production department or production team is something that is most interesting for us, because most of the tasks that relate to costs will be associated with production. So this is the largest department in terms of employees. Okay, and here we have, so keep that in mind, that production is the largest department. And here we have a useful information I found. So due to financial constraints, Ben, and who is Ben? Ben is the production director, has yet to make any significant improvements to the peanut butter production department, which is still using the machines that were nearly the end of their useful life when CIMA bought them secondhand in 2018. So what that information indicates us is that first, so here on the side note, you see that the company has no funds for new equipment. So that will probably come up in the exam. And this is another sign of overtrading, because the company that is increasing sales pretty rapidly invests all the money into working capital, which means that they have no extra cash for investments. Okay, so they are putting all the money they have, all the funds they have for working capital, because as you probably know that if the sales increase, the demand for working capital also increases, so they need to put all their money into working capital. And of course, if they have old machinery, they will probably want to sell it and buy new production line, new machines, new equipment, which means that you should check out IAS 16, so property, plant and equipment, and also IFRS 5, assets held for sale. And sorry about that. So in the relation to this information, so what kind of task may come up during the exam? Well, for example, IFRS 5, what are the requirements for the asset to be classified as an asset held for sale? Okay, so you will be provided information about some old asset that the company wants to sell, and you need to analyze in order to the information from IFRS 5 that you should remember. Can we classify this asset as asset held for sale? Yes, no, and of course explain why. Okay, so keep that in mind. And IAS 16, for example, the rules for capitalization. So for example, company buys a new production line, okay, for peanut butter production, and you will be asked which kind of expenses can be capitalized and why, and which cannot be capitalized. Okay, so you will be given information about the associating expenses, for example, transport, for example, staff training, and so on. And you, with relation to IAS 16, you will need to decide and explain which of them can be capitalized and which of them cannot be capitalized, and also why. Distribution. So distribution, two pieces of information here. So we have two sales channels. So as you see, we have a head of finished goods distribution center and head of website sales distribution. So we have two sales channels. So one is through website and the other one is through retailers, I think. So we can conclude this with the use of information from the beginning of this pre-scene, when we are informed that gym chains are our main customers. So gym chains can be treated as retailers. So we have two sales channels. So remember this, because this is important in context of KPIs, because you can use you should use different KPIs for measuring the effectiveness of sales through the website, and different KPIs which will measure the effectiveness of sales through retailers. Okay, so keep that in mind. And if we have distribution center, we have inventories, and if we have inventories, that means that you should be able to explain everything with relation to IS2 inventories. Okay. Here another piece of information that I found useful. Jack has installed many new systems since joining PB and is keen to ensure that the company continues to grow. So generally, if we installed new systems, so this is the automation of the process, you may be asked to comment about switching from labor hours to machine hours as a basis of absorption in absorption costing system. So this kind of task came up in the previous exam sessions. So it may come up in this November session as well. So the company is analyzing whether it is suitable to, for example, switch from labor hours to machine hours, and they will ask you to make a comments about it. Okay, so what you should be able to explain why it may be good idea and why it may not be the best idea. Okay, so keep that in mind. Finance. So this is our department. Okay, so Julia Matthews, we've seen her in the previous pages. She's a finance director and she is your senior boss, and your direct boss is Akida Agu, so a finance manager, and you are working with other finance officers, so you are here. Sorry about that, I needed a sip of water. So another indication, so we have sales and marketing, so we have another indication that there are two sales channels through the website and through retailers. So as I said, this is important in terms of KPIs. Now extract from the employee induction manual overview of manufacturing process. So remember, you don't need to remember the manufacturing process, because the operational case study exam will not test your knowledge on the manufacturing of peanut butter. That's not the idea, but from this information here, you know that there may be 4 cost centers. So if the company is using responsibility accounting, then each of these production processes can be treated as a separate cost center. So we have peanut butter production, because we have 4 distinct manufacturing areas. Okay, so if each of these distinct manufacturing areas may be treated as a cost center. Okay, so we have peanut butter production in one area of the our production plant, peanut butter bar production, other nut, and protein powder production. So we have 4 distinct manufacturing areas, and we may expect that these can be treated as 4 separate cost centers. Okay, the peanut butter production, so you don't have to remember this. I also advise you not to read it very extensively, because it's not important. What you should know about peanut butter is that this is really complex process, and if it's a complex process, that activity-based costing may be considered as better solution than absorption costing. Okay, so keep that in mind and prepare a short note when you prepare for your exam. So what would be the advantages of using activity-based costing for peanut butter manufacturing process, and what would be the advantages of keeping absorption costing as the main costing system for peanut butter manufacturing process. Just saying that this is complex process, so you have different stages. So if you have a complex process, always activity-based costing may be a solution. And we have another interesting piece of information. Although the peanut butters are made in a different part of the facility to the other nut bars, the manufacturing process for all types of is identical. So if we have different types of bars that are being produced here, but the manufacturing process for all types is identical. So two things comes in mind. So standard costing, because the process is identical in any case, so standard costing may be used, and potential task in the exam, variance analysis. So every time when you hear standard costing, there is always space for variance analysis. So for example, you will be given variances of fixed production overheads, and you will need to make a comments why these variants have occurred. So we'll be given, aside from the numbers of that which will indicate the variances, you will be also given some notes. Okay, so some information what had happened in the previous month or previous week. And using this information and using the values of the variances, you should indicate why these variances occurred and explain it. Okay, so we have planning and operational variances, and also we have these three variances which relates to fixed overhead costs. So we have efficiency, effectiveness, and I forgot this third one, sorry. Okay, the protein powder manufacturing process is less complicated than the other production processes. So if it's less complicated, you may expect that the company is using absorption costing in relation to this process. Okay, so you don't have to remember all this, just read it once or twice and forget about it. Okay, so here we have some information, because this is the section that describes production facility. So we have single production facility. This is important information because it all happens in one place. Okay, so all the production processes are made within the one factory building. And here is the information that it may be useful for your exam. So there is a capacity at the facility for further expansion. So further expansion means that we may be willing to buy new equipment, new machines, and new production lines. So if we are buying fixed assets, there is always a case that may be related to IAS 16, so property, plant and equipment. And the production facility site also includes raw materials, warehouse and distribution centers. So raw materials, so IS2 inventories, of course working capital ratios, which relate to raw material warehouse, and maybe sometimes it's not very common, but from time to time CIMA asks you about the economic order quantity model, So, for example, the company uses the EOQ, so explain how they use it and what are the benefits of EOQ. Or, for example, the company is not using it, but it considers the use of EOQ in the future. So, I don't know, explained what would be the advantages and disadvantages of using EOQ for managing our inventories. Okay, so these are the types of questions that you may face during the exam. Whey powder. So this is the most important raw material of every product. So remember, the whey powder is the main ingredient of every product. And we have established excellent relations with a few trusted suppliers. So again, they mentioned that the relations with suppliers are extremely important for the company, and this may indicate that if they repeat it one more time, that this may be tested during your operational case study exam. Peanuts. So if you read this part about peanuts, the two things that are important is that we are supplied by a single supplier. So if we are using single supplier, there is always a risk that this supplier will not be able to provide us with the amounts of peanuts we want to or we need. So we are considering transactions with a new supplier. So for example, the very common task during your operational case study exam will be that we are considering three new suppliers of peanuts, and you will be given a table with working capital ratios or credit terms, and you should analyze it and indicate which will be the most suitable supplier for us and explain why do you think this supplier will be the best for us. And we have also information that for peanuts the company is using economic order quantity models. So I think that if they mentioned this, it means that it may be tested during your operational case study exam. Nut butters. So readily available from a number of suppliers. So generally almond nut butter is made in Spain, so they supply it from Europe. However, the cashew nut butter and the remaining almond butter has to be imported from South America. So we are importing this, our company is located in Europe, we are importing this from South America and Asia, which means that the carbon footprint may be the issue, and maybe we will be forced to switch our suppliers to some European suppliers. So just keep that in mind, that nut butters are imported from other continents and it's not in line with our sustainability policy. Okay. However, this has a long shelf life, so it means that the company is taking advantage of volume discounts, so they are making bulk purchases, which allows them to be subject to volume discounts, and of course that reduces cost. And of course, inventory management comes to mind when you have long shelf life, because this always indicates a question or task that, for example, explained whether the company is using conservative or aggressive policy of inventory management of nut butters. Okay, so you have to explain with relation to the information given in the task, which of these two strategies is being used in the company, what are the advantages of this and disadvantages of this type of strategy, and so on. So keep that in mind. Protein powder flavoring, this is entrusted to a single company. So once again, there is a risk, so maybe decision under risk. And also another type of task that may come up in the exam is the change of the contracting with a new supplier, okay? Because we don't want to have a one single company that supplies us, we want another one. So again, you may be given 3 new suppliers to be analyzed, for example, in the context of working capital ratios, and you have to indicate the one that is most suitable and explain why do you think this company is the most suitable supplier. Other raw materials, so we have bulk purchases, discounts. So this indicates that you may be asked about the inventory management strategy. So I mentioned this in the context of nut butters. So again, so with relation to suppliers and purchasing, so you have IS2, inventories, working capital ratios, and economic order quantity model. So keep that in mind. And this is something that you should memorize, because we are informed that the price of nuts, nut butters, and a large number of flavorings can fluctuate in price due to exchange rates. Okay, so we are importing, so exchange rate may impact prices, harvest yields, and or the time of the year. And PB's credit payment periods range from 30 to 75 days. So you have to remember this, that the credit payment periods are different for different suppliers. From different suppliers, so the range is from 30 to 75 days. So it's a pretty wide range. And potential task in the exam, for example, supply and comparison. So I mentioned this when I analyzed the previous page. So ratios, risk and benefits of trading with each supplier. So you will may be given a description of each of the suppliers, and your task will be to indicate risks and benefits of trading with each supplier. Sales market. So PB currently sells its products via selected retailers, so always receivables management and also overtrading, 2 subjects that may come in the exam. In Sealand, and direct to customers in Sealand through its own website. So sales to websites are paid by cash, so it's not an issue for us. However, sales to retailers always is related to receivables management, and if we are increasing sales year by year, it means that we may give our retailers favorable payment terms, which is one of the indications of overtrading. So keep that in mind. And here we have information. So the company does not currently sell any of these products outside Sealand. However, this scenario, so the scenario of going abroad, may come up in the exam. Okay. Here we are informed that awareness of personal best products in the other countries has grown due to mainly to online magazine and articles and social media influencers. So the powerful internet is the cause that our products are maybe not popular, but people from other countries are aware of our products, and this indicates that the company may consider to going abroad. As you see, the sales managers has recently been sent to Milan, I don't know how to read it properly, a large European country a significant distance from Sealand, which uses C currency. So C currency, they are using the same currency as we are using, so this is pretty comfortable situation for the company, because there is no exchange rate risk. Okay, so keep that in mind, that Milan uses the same currency. And here we are informed that the intention is to rent a small distribution center in the mainland that will be fully operational from the 1st of January. So this is the confirmation that the company is going abroad with its products. So if we are going abroad, what does it mean in the context of the exam? So the small distribution center may be treated as responsibility centers. Okay, so check out what is all the things that associated with responsibility centers for a small distribution center. So it will be revenue center for sure. KPIs related to this distribution center. So for example, the company wants to measure the effectiveness of sales in this distribution center. So example of task is for propose 3-4 KPIs that will measure this effectiveness and justify them. Another thing, the small distribution center will need to have a budget. Okay, so budgeting comes to mind in relation to the small distribution center. So these 3 topics for sure you need to check out before the exam. Okay. And here we are informed that 60% of our sales volume is through retailers or will be through retailers in the following year. Okay, so it's good to know. It's maybe not the most useful information for you. However, it's good to know. Okay. So you may expect that if 60% of sales volume is through retailers, the remaining 40% is through website, and it's also an information that is good to know before the exam. Okay. Distribution center and logistics. So we are informed that PB uses a third-party logistics company to transport goods to retailers. The third-party couriers are used to deliver to website customers. So they are outsourcing their outbound logistics. So outbound logistics. So you have Porter's value chain, and outsourcing is a topic from E1. So outsourcing, it's not a popular topic in the OCS exam. However, it occurs from time to time, so it's maybe good idea to read some more about outsourcing in your E1 textbook. And so here we have a number of employees in our company, so you don't have to remember this, just be aware that it's around 160 employees in the company, and most of them, so over 100, works in the production. So you have to be just aware of these numbers, you don't have to memorize them, just be aware of the scale of the numbers, that is around 160 and over 100 working in the production. Okay, standard costing and budget. So this is extremely important part in the operational case study exam, because this part relates to all the technical knowledge and the technical skills you are to present during your operational case study exam. So we are informed that company operates a standard absorption costing system. So they are using standard costing and they are using absorption costing. Okay. So if there is absorption costing, you may expect that some products, so the company may use as a basis of absorption labor hours for some products or machine hours for the other products. Okay, and the very often the task that comes up very often is the company has an idea that, for example, switching from labor hours to machine hours may be a good idea. And your task is to explain what are the benefits and drawbacks of switching, from example, from labor hours to machine hours. And the other topics that comes to mind is activity-based costing. So maybe the company thinks that, okay, our production process is so complex that absorption costing is not a good solution. And for example, we may wish to switch to activity-based costing, and your task is to present what do you think about it. So what are the benefits and drawbacks of using ABC in the context of our company. So once again, don't type your answers as a general answers to the topic. Just always relate your answers to the company presented in the pre-sim. Variance analysis, that's another that comes to mind and is associated with standard costing. So every time that standard costing is being used, there are always variance analysis being made. So keep that in mind. So variance analysis, especially the variance analysis that relate to fixed production overheads, okay? Standard costs are used for the purpose of valuing inventory in financial statements, so they are not presenting the inventory in terms of actual value, but in terms of standard value. So keep that in mind and read about it in IS2 inventories. Budgets are prepared annually on an incremental basis, so the company is using incremental budgeting, and the task that may come up in exam is to present the advantages and disadvantages of incremental budgeting, and of course in the context of the company, this particular company that is shown in the pre-scene. Many new operational managers may have been recruited in the past 2 years. They have limited involvement in budget setting. So if they have limited involvement in budget setting, it means that this is top-down budgeting, or other way it's called imposed budgeting. And as we see in the next sentence, so Julia Matthews, so our senior boss, sets the budgets for all of the departments. So this is imposed budgeting, and every time that in the pre-scene we are informed that it is imposed budgeting, one of the exam variants, because as you know the exam windows has 3 days, so it's Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and each day there is a different variant of the exam, okay? So there are 3 variants for the whole November session, for example. So in one of the variants, one of the subtasks is to present what would be the benefits of switching from imposed budget to participative budgeting, okay? So I will actually recommend you to prepare 3, maybe 4 benefits of switching from imposed budgeting to participative budgeting in the context of our company. So think about this company, what is important for this company, what are the problems of the company, and think about which of these problems may be solved better by implementing participative budget and changing this imposed budgeting system, okay? And here we have financial statements. So as I mentioned previously, accounting year does not coincide with the calendar year. So our year accounting year end is 30th June 2023. And if you take a look at this table, so we are comparing the statements from the previous year and the actual year, and as you see, there's all good, so nothing that could cause our concern. So revenues are increasing, cost of scales of course are increasing because some of the costs are variable, so they will increase with the volume of sales. Gross profit is also increasing. As you see, the gross profit margin is even higher than in the previous year. Selling and distribution marketing costs increased slightly. I guess this is because some of them are variable costs. Administrative expenses increased, but just only by $70,000. Operating profit have doubled from the previous year. Finance costs are even lower than the previous year. Profit before tax is pretty impressive, so it's like 3 times higher than in the previous year. And profit for the year is almost 4 times as it was in the previous year. So everything is, I think, correct here. I do not see anything that could cause a concern, okay? And we have statement of financial position, and take a look at this. So we have right of use assets, so they are using leasing, so IFRS 16 leases. So study this as well, because this company is using leasing as a source of financing their fixed assets, okay? So what I found here interesting is longer payments. So take a look at trade receivables. So they increased by over $500,000 throughout the year. So this is another indication that the company is using very aggressive receivables policy just to stimulate sales, which cause problems known by overtrading. So once again, I'm using this term, and if the company is overtrading, it means that it's running out of cash like crazy. And as you see, in the previous year we had no cash, which is pretty strange, and now we are having some cash, but it may be gone in the next few months, because we need to put this money, or at least some of this money, into our working capital, which is increasing because the sales is increasing as well. Retained earnings, I think they are paying no dividends, because as you see, the retained earnings increased from the previous year. So here we have lease liability, of course, because they are using leasing as a source of financing or funding their fixed assets. Overdraft. So take a look at this. In the previous year they used bank overdraft, and now they are not using, so they repaid the whole bank overdraft. And the task, which is pretty common in operational case study exams, so the company is having problems with cash, so they are considering to using bank overdraft as the source of short-term financing. And the task for the exam is to present the pros and cons, so advantages and disadvantages of using bank overdraft as a source of short-term financing. Or the second one is to present alternatives. So if not bank overdraft, then what? Okay, what kind of other solutions we may find to increase our cash levels, or increase the cash level that is available for the company, okay? So that's all from the statement of financial position. And as you see, here is the statement of cash flows. So here it's all pretty good. So cash generated from operations, almost 3 million. Net cash inflow from operation activities is over 2 million, and net increase in cash and cash equivalents in total is almost 2 million, so it's all good, okay? So there's nothing here to that cause my concern, so everything is in the right order. Here we have budgeted gross profit, and as you see, the two product ranges, so protein bars, protein powders. So protein bars, they are like 80% of sales, or close to 80% of sales. So this is our main selling product. Protein powders are providing much less sales revenues. However, as you see, the gross profit margin is higher for protein powders, okay? So this is an information that is well memorizing, okay? So you don't need to memorize the numbers itself, just remember that in terms of sales, protein bars are the main selling product. And in terms of gross profit margin, the protein powders is the product that is more profitable, okay, for the company. Here what I found maybe not interesting, but some of you may feel a bit worried about this information. So take a look at this. So the price for the website and for retailers, the prices are different, okay? And why is it different? Because from the website, our direct consumers are buying, so they are buying for retail price. And retailers needs to buy cheaper from us because they need to make a margin on sales. So if they are selling this product for example, $21 as well, so the difference between $21 and $16.80 is their margin on sales. Okay, so keep that in mind and don't worry about this price difference. Cost of sales. So this is cost of sales for protein bars, okay? Because this whole section relates to protein bars. So cost of sales, take a look at this. In terms of protein bars, the main costs are direct costs. So raw materials is the main cost, production cost, and direct labor is the second production cost. So as you see, we have almost no or very little production overheads, okay? So keep that in mind, because if company asks, or if CIMA asks you to provide some information about implementing activity-based costing, well, you should answer that activity-based costing is suitable for production where overheads are pretty high, okay? Production overheads are pretty high. So you may indicate that in the pre-seen material you have information that protein bars do not use much of overheads, so the primary costs are direct costs. So in terms of protein bars, activity-based costing may not be the best solution, because there is not much overhead used within the production process, okay? So keep that in mind. So another example of price discrimination. So this one relates to protein powders, and with protein powders it's opposite. So take a look at this. So the two main cost groups is raw materials and fixed production overhead. So in terms of 1 kilogram size of pouch, fixed production overhead is the main cost of this product. So significant share of fixed production overheads means that activity-based costing may be a suitable solution for the company, but only in terms of protein powders, okay? So keep that in mind. And also there may be a question about switching from labor hours to machine hours. So what are the pros and the cons from changing the basis of absorption if the company wish to use absorption costing in the following year? So here you have example standard cost cards, and what is interesting here is that for peanut butter the company uses machine hours as the basis of absorption, and for protein bar production they are using direct labor hours as a basis of absorption. So generally, if the company during the exam scenario invests in new equipment, new machines, new production lines, and the whole production process will become more machine intensive, it may be a good background for asking you, do you think that switching from labor hours to machine hours, because of this, because the process becomes more machine intensive, is a good idea, okay? And you should present your answers, of course, presenting the pros and cons of switching from direct labor hours to machine hours. So just saying that they are using two bases of absorptions for different products, and you may be asked about this, about switching the basis of absorption, okay? In terms of protein powder, they are using only machine hours, so this is a more machine intensive process. So I don't think that they are going backwards, so switching machine intensive process into more labor intensive process, because that will be something completely stupid, okay? machines are cheaper, are more efficient, more effective, so why go backwards? Notes on standards and budget, and unfortunately you have to memorize it all. So standards are reviewed and updated annually, so keep that in mind. Especially, so this is essential piece of information when with the task related to fixed overhead variances, okay, or generally the variance analysis. So keep that in mind, that standards, so the main one of the reasons that variance occurred is maybe that the standard is not up to date, okay, so keep that in mind. Normal raw material losses are included in the standard cost card, so if there are any material losses in the variance analysis, you have to ask yourself if these losses are normal or maybe they are not normal or subnormal, okay? So this is something that you should also memorize. All direct labor overtime premium is treated as variable production overhead. So overtime premium goes to the variable production overhead. This is also important information. In terms of variance analysis, idle time is not budgeted for, okay? So this is also important, because if there is any idle time mentioned in the variance analysis, you may just refer to the pre-seen information that idle time is not budgeted for, so it may be a cause of variance occurring, okay? And production overheads are allocated and apportioned to the production cost centers and absorbed on direct labor hour or machine hour basis, so we already know it. And here you have some attachments, so extras from senior management team meetings, and usually this parts with attachment does not provide sufficient information. However, in the case of this pre-scene, and I'm really surprised that there are many pieces of information that may be very useful during your operational case study preparations. So take a look at this. So Julia confirmed that the finance for production of new protein biscuit range is secured, and a senior management team agreed to launch mid-April 2024 as planned. So first, a piece of information: new product protein biscuit is going to be launched in mid-April, and they secured a finance for production, okay? So new product range to be launched, so KPIs always with the sales, so KPIs related to the sales of new products, relevant costing. So for example, company will present you in one of the tasks, you will be presented with production costs, and you should indicate which of these costs are relevant and which are not relevant while deciding, for example, from production line A and production line B, which are considered to be purchased, okay? So the company considers purchasing one of them, and you should decide which of them is more beneficial for the company with relation to relevant costs provided by one or other production line. So this is something that also will probably come up in the exam. So remember that in mid-2024 that will be launch of a new product, okay? The senior management team agreed that the range should be launched with 3 flavors. So 3 flavors sales mix, okay? So you have variance analysis in terms of sales mix, and this is subject from your P1 textbook or pillar P in your FLP platform, if you are using FLP platform. Another one important, so another statement that is important, so orders for the baking oven and other major machinery and equipment will be placed soon. So the company indicates that they are going to buy new equipment. So new equipment indicates that capitalization criteria should be studied extensively by you, because the standard question or the standard task in your operational case study exam is that the company is purchasing a new equipment, and there are also costs associated with the purchase. So for example, transportation, for example, I don't know, staff training and so on. and you should indicate which of these costs can be capitalized and which not, and why. So you should refer to IAS 16. And of course, if the company is buying new equipment, they may want to get rid of the old equipment. Okay, so once more, IFRS 5 non-current assets sales held for sale. So the criteria of classification of asset as being treated as an asset held for sale. So okay, so you have to remember what are the criteria that allows to the company to reclassify asset as asset held for sale. Baked products are new to PB. The process is relatively simple. If staff skilling will not be a major issue. Okay, so the company starts a new production process. So we have no experience in baked products. So keep that in mind that we are starting something completely new, which is probably risky. But we are informed that the process is relatively simple and that won't be a major issue for the company in relation to staff skilling. Okay, so Jack referred to an incident this year where retailers did not have sufficient supplies of new seasonal flavor. The company bar when the PB bar was flavor PB bar when it was launched. Sorry. So he confirmed that this will not happen again, but that any change in production schedule or launch date must be reported to him and at the earliest opportunity. And when I look at this, two things come to mind. So JIT, and so just in time, and TQM, total quality management. Not very common topic during your operational case study exam, but the company may wish to consider switching to either JIT or implementing total quality management. And of course, you have to know all the benefits and drawbacks of both of them, so either JIT or TQM. Vegan products, so therefore there is a still significant scope to build the PBV customer base. So they are trying to build a customer base for vegan products. So of course, social media, community building, e-marketing, and that all relates to KPIs. So keep that in mind, that to think about some KPIs related to sales of vegan products. What might it be? Okay. Ben confirmed that the new PB vegan range will need its own production facility, so the company will probably build or rent. So this is the question. Okay, so try to think about what are the drawbacks and benefits of renting or buying production facility, and of course tax issues. This is another thing that will come to mind. And IAS 16, if the company is buying new machinery for the new production plant, that's also important in relation to this information. It will be completely separate from the main facility to protect its vegan and lactose-free status. So the company is either renting or buying a new production facility, and they may be also buying a new machinery for this production facility. And so check IAS 16 and what are maybe the tax issues related to new production facility, and there will be, I will show you on the last page. And Ben reported that whilst it has already been agreed that there will be a single supplier of the vegan-based protein powder, so what comes to mind is choosing the right supplier. So if you are choosing the right supplier, we have a risk. So this is P1 topic, expected value or maximin, minimax, regret, or maximax decision rules. So we will be given some information in the table about the outcomes that are the results of, or their expected result of cooperating with each of these 3 potential suppliers, and using the information provided in the table and using the maximin, minimax, regret, maximax, or expected value decision rules, you should indicate which of the suppliers will be chosen by the company. This is pretty standard task in your operational case study exam. Now, so Ben stated that due to the age and inefficiencies of machinery, the peanut butter department was a drain on profit. So they have problems with making profit on peanut butter production. He praised Linpike for introducing weekly cost crunching teams meeting where all members of the department compete for the 3PB award. Okay, so this for me indicates that CGMA cost transformation model may be a task for you in the operational case study exam, because as you see, the company already implemented something that we call cost-conscious culture. Okay, and cost-conscious culture is one of the 6 ingredients of CGMA cost transformation model. So keep that in mind, that you should always study this CGMA cost transformation model. So what are the 6 ingredients of this cost transformation model? Just be aware of it, okay? Now, another piece of information, Ben said that the only way the department could add the profitability to the business is to invest in new machinery. So new machinery, so IS 16, IFRS 5 if they want to get rid of old machinery, and decision tree. Decision tree, this is also a topic which always may come up in your operational case study exam, and it's not the most favorite topic for all the students. I know that my students don't like decision trees, and from what I read in the social media or CIMA groups, other students from other countries also don't like decision trees. So keep that in mind, that it's topic that is very often tested in your operational case study exams. So just study decision trees, okay? Here is another piece of information that I found useful. So he stated that in the finance needed to buy new machinery could not be found. The only alternative was to close a peanut butter department and buy in peanut butter. So this refers to the topic which is called make or buy decisions. So the company may decide whether to make or buy peanut butter. So this is also a topic for a task in the operational case study exam. So you will be provided with financial and non-financial information about making the peanut butter or buying the peanut butter from the third-party supplier, and you have to present the advantages of and disadvantages of each of the solutions. And that will be a task for you in operational case study. So keep that in mind. So make or buy decisions. We are also provided with some other information that, for example, the variable cost to make peanut butter in-house remained slightly more expensive than the cheapest buying option. So it's cheaper to buy peanut butter than to make it in-house. So this is important piece of information, and that also indicates or supports the thesis that make or buy decision will be tested in your operational case study exam. 94% of our customers rank sustainability in the top 3 reasons they buy PB products. So supplier should be sustainable, okay, as well. So choosing a supplier, you need to mention that the company only cooperates with sustainable suppliers, because this is important for our clients. So keep that in mind, that one of the non-financial factors which should be considered when choosing alternative supplier is that this supplier should also pay attention to sustainability. Okay. Further key facts were used to explain the cost driven and inefficiencies with this department to prove that the current operation is not viable in the medium or to long term. So if we continue like that, so without changing machinery, without changing processes, this department will not make any profits in the medium to long term. So short term it can operate, however that requires significant changes if this operation is to be viable in the future. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. 74 of PB consumers would buy single serving sachets of peanut butter, so this is another option for future products, so producing peanut butters not in jars but in sachets. Okay, so this percentage increased to 91 when consumers were told that the innovative packaging for a sachet would be made from compostable plastic and waxed paper. So another example of environmental friendly packages, or generally environmental issues are really important not only for the company but also for the customers. And I told you in the beginning of this video that the CIMA is absolutely crazy about being sustainable, reducing carbon footprint and being environmental friendly. So for sure there will be relation to this topic in your operational case study exam, and this information also provides us with the information that another product may be considered to be launched in the future. So this is topic that will for sure occur in your operational case study exam. So this is information about the peanut butter jar. So if jars are made from glass, our consumers are more willing to buy it. So we do not use plastic jars, we should use glass jars. Julia also stated that selling a peanut butter in 30-gram sachets at the price point Penny suggested would be 10 times more profitable than selling in jars. So this is something that you should for sure memorize. So selling in sachets will make 10 times more profit than selling in jars. So higher margin, higher profitability. And as I mentioned in the earlier in the pages I've analyzed, 20 minutes ago, that the market will become more and more competitive. So the company will look for products that will give them more profit, okay? Because there will be a price pressure from the competitive market. So the company cannot make profit by increasing prices. They will probably be forced to remain the prices at the same levels or even reduce the prices. So keep that in mind, that sachets may be a solution because they give more profit and more margin. Okay. Julia added that selling peanut butter in sachets alone would generate enough margin to match the investment in new machinery with 5 years. Financing for the investment is not available at this time. So generally, if we, for example, use bank borrowings to finance investments in new machinery, sales, so the profits from the selling as sachets alone would generate enough margin to match to pay the debt. Okay, so that may be a solution to lack of funds for buying a new machinery. So buy new machinery to produce sachets alone, and these sachets with peanut butter will generate enough profit to or enough margin to pay the bank borrowing. Okay, so we know that there are no funds for investment. So this is another piece of the information that supports the thesis that the company is running out of money. Factoring may be a good idea to release some cash, maybe not good, but one of the ideas to release some cash. It's not very popular topic in operational case study exam. However, it occurs in the exam from time to time. So check out factoring. What are the benefits? What are the drawbacks of using factoring? And check out all the financial aspects of using factoring. So every margin, I don't know, every cost that is associated to factoring, because that may be a subject to be analyzed by you during the case study exam. And of course, working capital policy to generate more cash. So maybe the company will be forced to switch, from example, managing strategy related to I don't know, suppliers, related to inventories and so on, to just release some extra cash, because obviously the company is running out of cash. And it was agreed that manufacturing peanut butter in-house was a valued USP, and the department should not be closed, that senior management team would revisit the plan to sell peanut butter in 6 months' time, and that in meantime Ben would continue to try and find more cost savings. So maybe one of the solutions is just outsourcing, okay? So maybe, because here we analyze that, okay, we may produce the peanut butter in-house if there are some improvements to be made, or the alternative is to buy peanut butter from external supplier. However, the other alternative is to just outsourcing the production of peanut butter to the third-party producer. Okay, so this is something that you should consider. So check out outsourcing. This is topic from E1. And the last page, tax regime in CIMA, and unfortunately you have to memorize it. So the corporate income tax rate to be applied on taxable profits is 25%. Rules on recognition and measurement are followed for tax purposes. Here you have the list of expenses that are not allowable for tax purposes. So you have to keep that in mind. Tax depreciation allowances are available on all items of plant and equipment, including computer equipment, so keep that in mind, at a rate of 25 per year on reducing balance basis. So the tax regime indicates a reducing balance basis as the method of calculating tax depreciation allowances. So they are not using a straight line basis, so keep that in mind. Full year's allowance is available in the year that the asset is acquired, so this is another piece of information that is useful. Tax depreciation allowances are not available for property assets, so keep that in mind as well. I don't think that the company will buy any property, but who knows, okay? So you should know this. Tax losses can be carried forward indefinitely to offset against future taxable profits from the same business. So keep that in mind as well. So this company is making profits, so this may not be the most fundamental information for you. However, there may be some significant losses in the future, for example, in the exam scenario. And if this is the case, then this information is pretty useful. Okay, so that's all. I hope that you found this video useful. I just wanted to indicate some pieces of information in this operational case study pre-scene. And if you have any question, write in the comments below and I'll try to answer this. So thank you very much and good luck in your operational case study exam. Till the next time.